Hey guys, the Chickens here. We are back today with another home gym video. In today's video, guys, wanted to talk about some things that you need for your home gym and how to go about planning it, especially if you're doing it on kind of a budget or a minimalist sort of setup. So to start off, what are things that you have to have without, getting into things that you like having or prefer having? So obviously you're gonna need weight plates, barbell, some sort of squat stand, squat rack, something like that. And that's really the basics. That's what you need to get set up, and then you can sort of start to build off of there, right? So there's different, I'll go over some options for like a budget kind of setup too. And what I would recommend actually, especially if you guys are in Canada, there's two companies I would definitely go to for budget stuff. Number one is Synergy Fitness. I have a lot of their products down here. Very cheap, and I haven't had an issue with any of them. So for example, their regular power bar, their barbell, I think I got it I think it sells for $249 Canadian. And I believe that was taxes shipped to your door. So it's really tough to beat that kind of pricing. The other thing is when you're looking at some of the starter stuff, you want to make sure that everything is the standard size. You don't want to get, a 1-inch barbell with 1-inch plates if you plan to get other stuff and build off of it from there. Because if you have, the 1-inch plates and stuff, that's fine to, do things and get moving. But at the same time, you're not going to be able to, fit accessories. Like almost everything fits a 2-inch hole, which is the standard weight plate size. So, yeah, little things like that, are good to keep in mind. It just prevents you from having to go out and buy something and then end up selling it or realize it's not what you wanted to build your gym around. So yeah, barbell, I would check out those two companies. For the squat rack, that's definitely something, or the squat stand, depending on your setup. It's definitely something you don't necessarily want to, get the cheapest version of, although there are, decent ones. I know the one on Amazon, it's called it's like the most popular one on Amazon. I forget what it's called. It's like the Power Cage or something random like that. And I think it's fairly cheap. It's again in the $200 range. So we're not even at 500. I mean, we're at $500 now, and we've got a really good barbell and a really good squat rack with attachments and things like that. The things you can do too with a squat rack is you can get a full one that doesn't necessarily fit in your space, and you can actually just simply cut down the top post of it. So that might be a good idea, depending on your ceiling space and stuff. I know they make, like Bells of Steel, for example, has a shorty rack, and it's 72 inches, but yeah, it's a little bit more expensive, I think, than going for like the cheapest, like full squat rack and then simply cutting it down to fit your space. So, yeah, so the barbell and squat rack. Now, the weight plates are a bit tricky because the plates are pretty well expensive no matter where you go, no matter how you slice it. Well, we used to be able to do, I remember even I did this a long time ago, was you could just, go on Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, depending on what country you're in. And that was always the best way to buy weight plates because people would always buy exercise equipment and then they would sell it. Like right around, first few weeks of January, there was always good like exercise equipment deals on, used marketplace kind of stuff. So that was always the go-to because buying plates outright does get expensive. But the best way to do it is, some of the companies I mentioned. But for the most part, they're going to go for, close to $1 a pound, pretty well everywhere these days. So another spot you can check out is like Dick's Sporting Goods, Play It Against Sports. They usually have like fairly cheap weight plates and even fixed dumbbells and that kind of thing. But just for your basic setup, barbell, squat rack or stand, and weight plates. That's what you need to get started. Now from there, you can start building off and getting stuff that you like. The thing is, with home gym equipment is you want to take into account versatility, right? Because you don't want to buy a one standalone machine that does one exercise because that's, depending on the footprint that you're working with in your gym space, you're not going to get a lot of value out of that, right? So that's kind of the best way. That's what we look at all these things. Like whenever we whenever we review gym equipment, it's always like a big thing. It's like, oh, you can do, like multiple exercises on this, or you can do like, kind of your whole workout. Like my belt squat, for example, I can do like 1,000 different things on it. So it ended up being a good purchase for the amount of space it takes up and the money that it costs. Um, yeah, so versatility is a huge thing. So I mean, the next thing you could really start looking at would probably be dumbbells, because I mean, you can pretty well do anything with dumbbells. They do get more expensive, so I mean, in terms of budget stuff, another great item would be what I have right behind me here is bands. Bands you can attach to anything. You can do, you know, arm workouts with them. You can do stretching with them. You can, you know, I pretty well use bands in some way, shape, or form every single time I work out. And even if you're not working out, like, they're great for stretching. They're great for like plyometric stuff. There's just like an unlimited use for them. The like bands are like the king of versatility, and obviously there's no, like, you know, weight resistance to them, so you can't do everything with them. But they're something that I think every home gym needs to have. There's just no reason not to, really. So things like that, where you can you know, get a good value for your dollar, and you know, again, versatility and that kind of thing. But yeah, so those are some things that I think would definitely help. Another thing that we didn't really talk about that would probably be like a requirement to have in your home gym would be some sort of bench, obviously, right? Because you're going to need a bench to do the bench press, and you're going to need a bench to do pretty well everything. I would say, to start out, just get an adjustable bench and bite the bullet. If not, you can get flat benches for, I think Strong Arm Sports sells one for $169. So I mean, you could get pretty well the whole setup. You're pretty well looking at $1,000, no matter how you slice it. You know, if you go cheap, budget, and you still want your stuff to last and hold up and be safe to use and, you know, get the job done, then I think $1,000 is pretty well. You could do it for $500, but then, you know, you're probably going to replace that stuff in a few years. So I think it's worth a little bit of the extra money if it lasts you a long time. But yeah, bench is definitely something that you're going to need. Again, something you can do a lot of different things with it, and I think it's worth just going with the adjustable route. You know, even if you don't have dumbbells, you can still use it for, like, you know, reverse flies, or just using weight plates to do different exercises, so you can get a lot of value out of them as well. But yeah, so that's basically it for the budget setup. But you guys let me know in the comments if there's anything that that I missed, or that you think is like kind of a requirement, or just something that you have in your home gym that you seem to get a ton of value of, or you use it all the time. Definitely interested to hear that. But yeah, that's just some basic tips on some, you know, a budget setup, or just getting set up kind of in general. And yeah, I think we pretty well covered everything. And then in the next video, we're going to talk about more of the fun stuff. So, you know, some of the accessory pieces of equipment that are, you know, beneficial, or you just enjoy using them, different options and things like that. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one. Chicken is out of here. Back.